What if everything you thought you knew about using eggshells in your garden was only half the story? Fellow gardeners, we're about to crack open the surprising truth about how different eggshell forms impact your plants in ways you never imagined. Prepare to transform what most people consider kitchen waste into a powerful garden ally that could revolutionize your growing success. Every time you crack an egg for breakfast, you're literally throwing away plant food that professional growers pay good money for. Those seemingly fragile shells contain approximately 95% calcium carbonate, the same compound found in expensive agricultural lime. But here's where it gets fascinating. Calcium isn't just another nutrient in your garden. It's the structural foundation that determines whether your tomatoes develop that dreaded blossom end rot, whether your peppers grow thick-walled and crispy, and whether your leafy greens maintain that satisfying crunch we all crave. Calcium serves as the cement in plant cell walls, creating the rigid structure that allows plants to stand tall and resist disease pressure. When plants lack adequate calcium, you'll notice stunted growth, leaf tip burn, and fruit that develops soft, sunken spots. The question isn't whether eggshells can help, but rather which form delivers this crucial nutrient most effectively to your hungry plants. When you grind eggshells into a fine powder, you're essentially creating a calcium supplement that behaves dramatically differently than larger shell pieces. The science here is straightforward. Increased surface area means faster decomposition and quicker nutrient availability. While whole eggshell pieces might take 18 months or more to fully break down in your soil, powdered shells can begin releasing their calcium treasure within 3 to 7 months. The process of creating powdered eggshells is surprisingly simple, yet crucial for maximum effectiveness. After collecting your shells, rinse them thoroughly to remove any egg white residue, then dry them completely in a low oven or simply air dry for several days. Once brittle, use a coffee grinder food processor or even a mortar and pestle to create a flour-like consistency. This powder integrates seamlessly into your soil where soil microbes can immediately begin the decomposition process. Powdered eggshells work exceptionally well for container gardening and raised beds where you want consistent, moderate calcium release throughout the growing season. Mix approximately 1 tablespoon of eggshell powder per gallon of potting mix, or work it directly into the top few inches of garden soil around calcium-hungry plants like tomatoes, peppers, and brassicas. Coarsely crushed eggshells serve a dual purpose that makes them invaluable for certain gardening situations. While they still provide the same calcium benefits as powdered shells, their larger size creates physical barriers that can deter soft-bodied pests like slugs and snails. The sharp, irregular edges make it uncomfortable for these garden invaders to cross, though you'll need to maintain a thick, continuous barrier for maximum effectiveness. Crushed shells work best when pieces range from pea-size down to coarse gravel consistency. This size allows for gradual decomposition over 1 to 2 growing seasons, while maintaining enough structure to discourage pests. Scatter a generous layer around vulnerable plants like hostas, lettuce, and young seedlings, refreshing the barrier as needed throughout the season. The slower release pattern of crushed shells makes them ideal for perennial plants and established garden beds, where you want steady, long-term calcium supplementation. They're particularly valuable in acidic soils where the calcium carbonate provides gentle pH buffering over time, gradually creating more favorable growing conditions for plants that prefer neutral to slightly alkaline soil. Creating an eggshell liquid brew transforms insoluble calcium into a form that plants can absorb almost immediately. This method essentially pre-digests the shells using acid, making calcium and trace minerals readily available in liquid form. The process mimics what happens in your stomach when you take calcium supplements, but instead of gastric acid, we use vinegar to do the work. To create this nutrient-rich brew, you'll want to combine crushed eggshells with white vinegar in a ratio of roughly 1 cup of shells to 2 cups of vinegar. The mixture will fizz and bubble as the acid dissolves the calcium carbonate, releasing carbon dioxide and creating calcium acetate, which is a highly soluble form of calcium. After the initial bubbling subsides, let the mixture steep for at least 2 weeks, giving it a stir every now and then. The resulting liquid can be diluted at a ratio of 1 part eggshell brew to 10 parts water for use as a foliar spray or a soil drench. This liquid approach really shines when you need rapid calcium delivery to address specific problems like blossom end rot in tomatoes or calcium deficiency symptoms that might show up mid-season. The water-soluble calcium moves quickly through plant tissues, and you'll often see results within days rather than months. It's smart to use this method strategically rather than as your main calcium source, since the rapid availability means it doesn't provide the kind of sustained release that powdered or crushed shells offer. In practical garden trials, each eggshell form demonstrates distinct advantages depending on your specific growing situation and timeline. Powdered eggshells consistently show the best balance of availability and longevity, providing a steady calcium release that supports consistent plant growth throughout the season. Plants receiving powdered shell amendments typically show improved cell wall integrity, which results in crisper vegetables and stronger stems that can resist lodging in wind and rain. Crushed shells excel in situations where you're building long-term soil health while simultaneously managing pest pressure. Gardens using coarsely crushed shells often report reduced slug damage and gradual improvement in soil structure as the shells decompose and create air pockets in heavy clay soils. The slower release pattern means these benefits compound over multiple growing seasons. Liquid eggshell brews provide the most dramatic short-term results, particularly when addressing acute calcium deficiency symptoms. Gardeners using this method report rapid improvement in blossom end rot symptoms and noticeably improved fruit quality within 2 to 3 weeks of application. However, the effects are temporary without follow-up applications or supplementation with longer-lasting forms. The most successful gardeners don't choose just one method but instead combine approaches based on their specific needs and growing conditions. So, start with powdered eggshells worked into your soil preparation for consistent season-long calcium availability. You can also use crushed shells as mulch around vulnerable plants to provide ongoing pest deterrence and slower calcium release. And it's a good idea to keep liquid brew on hand for emergency treatment of calcium deficiency symptoms, or as a quick boost for heavy feeding plants during peak growing periods. Consider your soil type when determining which form to emphasize. Sandy soils really benefit from the slower release of crushed shells, which won't leach away as quickly as more soluble forms. Clay soils work well with powdered shells that integrate easily and won't create drainage issues. And for container gardens, you'll often see the best results from combining powdered shells in the potting mix with periodic liquid brew applications for immediate availability. Remember that eggshells work best as part of a comprehensive soil health strategy rather than a standalone solution. It's smart to combine them with compost, organic matter, and other soil amendments for optimal results. The calcium they provide becomes most effective when your soil biology is active and healthy, able to facilitate the complex chemical processes that make nutrients available to plant roots. Your garden deserves every advantage you can give it, and eggshells offer one of the most accessible, cost-effective ways to boost plant health and productivity. Don't let another shell hit the trash can when it could be feeding your plants instead. If this guide has cracked open new possibilities for your garden, hit that subscribe button and share this video with fellow gardeners who are ready to transform their kitchen waste into garden gold. What eggshell method will you try first? Let us know in the comments below.